Guys, I'm buying this lake property just an hour southeast of Dallas, and I'm going to show you why I'm buying it, how much I expect to make from it, and why I decided to do this deal going forward. Now, my fiance and I, soon-to-be wife, we love traveling. We always want a lake home. As we get excess cash from my other investments and businesses and things like that, we decided to spend our money buying lake houses. This is our first purchase. We have a second purchase on this very lake happening a month later. This is the house. A brand new 3,200 square foot house located on Cedar Creek Reserve, 1 hour and 15 minutes southeast of Dallas. My stepson lives in Dallas. We love going to Dallas. It's a great stop on the way to Mexico, and we'd love to spend more time down there during the wintertime. So I thought, what better way to spend time down there, but also buy something that I could also rent out on the side and make some money. Now, a lot of people I know that own lake homes, they don't rent them out. I don't blame them. It's nice to have your own home. You can go to it. It's yours. Nobody touched anything. But guys, lake homes aren't cheap. And I look at it saying, if I can rent it out and at least break even by renting it out from the time I'm not there, what's the harm? Yeah, there's some upkeep. You factor that into the underwriting, and I'll show you that later. But I want to buy a portfolio of lake houses for my wife and I. That way, over the next 10 years, if we're able to accumulate 10 or 12 houses, we have options on places to go. And all the while, I also have 10 or 12 vacation rentals that are increasing in value, spitting off cash flow, and I can vacation for free. Now, if you've been watching us for a while, you know I also own a business called Luxury Escapes International. This all started on the same premise. I went to Mexico, took a vacation, fell in love with the city of Manzanillo, bought a house. It ended up spiraling into 2 houses in Manzanillo, a house in Turks and Caicos, and some houses in Europe. It became what I wanted to make, 4 or 5% return, but also be able to vacation for free, to now a full-fledged business that's so busy, I can barely use those houses myself. Now, like I said earlier, this is a brand new build. I am buying this house. As you can see right here, it's listed for sale at $999. Now, it started at $1.299. And I saw it back then, and I loved the house, and I thought potential. But guess what I did? I sat there and I ran my numbers, which I'm going to show you, and said, you know what? I don't think I can make the adequate return on my money that's necessary to pay $1.299. And then it started to fall. They started lowering the price and lowering the price. And my agent knew I was interested in this house. And she said to me, Paul, let's just go at them with the price that makes sense to you. And at the end of the day, we ended up settling on a price of $925,000. Okay. Now, a lot of people would sit there and say, wow, you paid $925 for a house that's asking 1.3. Guys, they could have asked me $5 million for the property. At the end of the day, that's what it was worth to me. Because the other thing is, as you can see in the pictures, there was no pool there. Not a lot of houses for rent in this area have a pool. So I want to have that competitive advantage of having a pool and patio, especially since the view from the house is not of the wide open lake. It's off a side channel that you go out to the open water, as you see right here. A pool is going to change the way in which this house looks. Right here, putting a nice pool in the back with a nice patio. That's what I'm going to add, and I'm going to pay cash for that. But if you come here and look at all the other pictures, look at this brand new interior. Nice open, tall windows, tall ceilings, a great feel for the house. This is a great way to spend a nice weekend or a nice week sitting here enjoying this with your family and friends. And that's what I loved about it. Like I said, the view, it's not great, but it's not awful. It's a nice, calm side location off the lake with easy access to the open water so you can go out there. Now, another thing I'm doing, I'm buying a nice pontoon boat and a jet ski for people in the house to be able to rent during the week. Down there, and I'll show you this later, jet skis rent for $400 or $500 for 4 hours, and pontoon boats rent for $700 plus per day. I plan on giving a discount from that for my renters and a full week discount for their use. That way they have some recreational activities to do throughout the week. Now, of course, somebody's going to say, what about the risks involved? There are a lot of risks involved. That's why I'm going to properly have the right documentation, the right insurance, everything covered properly as much as I can ahead of time. But what's most important to me is that I'm able to give people who rent this house a great experience of a vacation rental so they leave a good review on Airbnb, as well as come back and use it in the future. Now, since my wife and I are using our extra cash for this, my returns don't have to be insane. I don't need to make 20+% returns. I'm happy making, as long as I'm in the double digits pretty much all day, I'm a happy guy. 10% plus returns. Now, It's an investment property. My bank is making me put 35% down. So I'm buying it for $925 and I'm putting 35% down on that. So call it $325,000. Plus I'm going to be paying cash for my pool, furniture, and all these other things. I expect to spend another $125,000 on those. So my total investment out of my pocket would be about $450,000 into this property. So how did I evaluate this deal? Well, guys, we have our real estate calculator, and I'm going to start this from scratch on our property. We created this years ago for internal use, but now it's being used for our community and for people who want to learn about real estate. It's a great and simple way to evaluate a real estate deal. So let's start by putting in the property name. It's Nob Hill. The address is 111 Nob Hill, Malakoff, Texas. Boom. Next. General information, number of units. It's 1 unit. Appreciation, I'm going to put 4%. Now, typically, single-family homes in this country increase in value about 4% a year. On a lake, it could probably be higher, but let's stay conservative and just call it 4%. Vacancy, guys, I'm going to go ahead and put there 50% vacancy. That's a big vacancy, but remember, it's a lake property. The weekends are going to be very valuable. The weekdays, not so much. And plus, with Texas, it does get a little chilly in Texas. So I've got to factor in a big vacancy. Is 50% a good number? I don't know. We'll go ahead and see. But I'm paying $925 for the house. But I want to add one more thing in there. I told you I'm putting in furniture and putting in a pool for $125,000. So my total investment is actually $1,050,000. I'm going to put that as my purchase price. My cost to sell, 7%. And I want to do a 20-year analysis. Now, this question right here, what's the cap rate upon sale? Don't get confused by that right now. Bottom line is that's mostly for multifamily properties. So I'm just going to put in a generic 7% right now. I won't explain that. It's something not to worry about in this video. I'm not paying an acquisition fee. I'm probably financing it for 1% fee. And here on the right, I'm going to put interest only and that I'll refinance. My bank allows me to do interest only loans. And I believe in doing those, especially with such a big down payment. It increases my cash flow. I'm not worried about paying this thing down forever. It's an investment. I want to maximize those returns and keep taking the cash and reinvesting it in bigger deals. So I'm okay with interest only. Not for everybody, but for me, it's the appropriate move for me. And I'm going to refinance it down the road. Guys, before we go any further, I want you to do 2 things for me. This is our new real estate channel off of our main channel with over 265,000 subscribers. I need you to subscribe to this channel if you're interested in learning about real estate. And second, we're here to make videos for you guys. Drop in the comments below what questions you have, what videos you want us to make, because we are going to tailor our videos after what the user wants to learn about. Income. It's 1 unit, 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, 3,200 square feet. Now, what is the current rent? Well, guys, I looked at comps on Airbnb. The good news is there aren't many that have a pool and that also have access to a boat. Even though the boat's not included in the price of the unit, it's still great to have easy access for a boat right there. Because if you don't, you got to rent a boat, you got to go pick it up, they bring it to you, all this fiasco, this boat, this jet ski are sitting right there. So what are houses like this going for? New condition with a pool? Guys, I think conservatively, I'm at $600 per day. Now that's a blend of more for weekends and holidays and less for the weekdays. So I'm calling it $600 per day. So 600 times 365 divided by 12 is $18,250 per month in rent. And we applied a 50% vacancy. So I'm assuming I only get half of that. That's a very, very conservative number. Now, what's my miscellaneous income? Well, guys, one of the things is, let's go with boat rental. Like I told you guys, boats down there go for $700 or more per day. So let's assume $600 times 365, $290. I can get almost the same amount of rent from a boat if I leased it out 100% of the time. But I'm only going to assume I leased it out 20% of the time. That's $43,800 per year in rent. Again, only 20% of the time. Basically 1.4 days per week. That is it. The other thing is I'm also going to give discounts if people take it for the full week. Based on our experience on our other properties, this will probably be taken up more than 20% of the time, but I just want to be conservative and put it in there. That's still a lot of rent for a boat, and I'm happy with that. Now, jet ski rental, same thing. Let's put in a jet ski. And let's assume the jet ski is $400 for 4 hours or $800 per day. Let's assume it's $400 per day times 365. Again, 20%, $29,200. That's going to be a great return for my money. In fact, from what I've looked at before, if I can break even on the house and just focus on increasing this, that alone probably make me enough money to justify the house. Isn't that incredible? Now, let's go to the next part. Expenses. Okay, let's start from the top. Property taxes. Down there, they're about 1.8% of the value. But I put in pool and furniture as part of my price, so it's not going to be 1.8% because it's only on my purchase price. So let's call it 1.66% to be conservative. Management fee. I'm managing it myself. Do I still want to pay myself a management fee? Sure, but I'm going to put in more for maintenance staff, leasing staff, property manager there. So I'm not going to put in a management fee on this one. Leasing commission, same thing. Insurance, it's about $5,000 per year. Now maintenance staff. Guys, how many times am I going to send a maintenance staffer down there? Well, I'm going to have somebody local, probably somebody who wants to earn some cash on the side. I'm going to pay them $30 an hour. Let's say they have to spend 6 hours a week at this property. That is 6 hours times 30 times 52 weeks out of the year, 9,360. Let's just round up to 10,000. Leasing staff. Guys, this person can probably handle getting people acclimated to the house. I probably don't need this for a leasing staff, but let's say I just want to have a nice, well-groomed person, female, who's going to be there to let tenants in, let them know, hey, I'm here for you. Let's say it's 3 hours a week times the same $30 per hour, 52 weeks, $4,680. Let's call it $5,000 per unit per year. Property manager. Again, I think I'm double dipping, double counting here, but I want to be conservative. Let's call that $7,500. Let's call that $5,000 again per year. So I have the maintenance guy and staff, leasing staff, property manager. Now, maintenance and repair. How much am I going to spend per year maintaining the property, fixing things that break, doing updates? Let's call it $7,500 per year. And my capital expenditure on making improvements. Remember, it's a brand new house. So I'm going to accrue this money in an account. That way, when I need it down the road, then maybe 5 years down the road, I need to spend $30,000 on something. I'm not putting money in day one, but I'm going to accrue it at $7,500 per unit. Now, advertising percentage. Guys, Airbnb takes 8 or 10%. So I'm going to call it 8% right here. But I'm going to stop there. Not all the leases are going to come from Airbnb. I have my luxury escapes business. We're going to announce it to all the people who've ever come to our houses, thousands of people. We're going to be able to get renters from that without paying a commission. So let's call it the blend of 6% advertising fee. Accounting and legal, I don't count in there because it's just going to be lumped into my LLCs. Landscaping, not a lot of landscaping. Cutting the grass, putting a few flowers in, maintaining that. Let's call that $7,500 per year. No snow plowing. Gas expense, I'm going to call it $3,600 a year. Electric, I'll call it $3,600 a year. And water, sewer, let's call it $1,800 per year. Now, one other attribute, it's a lake area, pest control. So I'm going to put in pest control here. And let's say I spend $200 a month on it. Boom. Now, guys, I told you before we had a jet ski and a boat. Now, I want a boat and jet ski payments. I'm not financing them, but on this, I want to kind of give myself a return on that before I do anything. So if I spend $40,000 on a boat and $20,000 on a jet ski, that's $60,000. Let's assume 8% return on that. That's $4,800 per year. Let's put that in here right here. Boat and jet ski maintenance and repair. Guys, things are going to happen. People are going to ding things. People are going to rip things. I'm going to have to spend money maintaining these things because they're still being held by people who are not going to own it, and they're going to have some issues. So I'm going to call that $6,000 a year. A big number here. But again, I want to be conservative. So right now, at the top, I have total expenses per unit of $109,000. Okay? $109,000. That's a lot. And let's go check out the next thing, mortgage. Now, guys, I told you before, I had a 65% mortgage on my $925,000 purchase price, which is about $600,000. But I paid cash for my pool and my furniture, taking me over $1,050,000. So my real mortgage is $600,000 on $1,050,000 total investment, which is about 58% LTV. Interest rate, about 6%. And interest only, I put in 999 years. Now, my refinances. Guys, this is where a lot of money is made. As I refinance the property, I can take, as the property goes up in value, I can take tax-free money out and go do it again. So I'm going to want to refinance every 7 years. I'm going to pay a 1% fee. I'm going to borrow at 65% LTV at the same interest rate, and it's interest only. And then in year 14, 1% fee, 65%, 6% interest only. Now remember, I did the analysis selling after 20 years. So I'm stopping there and I'm going to assume I sell it in 20 years. So right now we have finalized the deal. Right now it shows me all of these attributes right here. All the attributes of the property. 182 in revenue, expenses, NOI, mortgage payment. Here's my cash flow. Here's the value of the property based on that cash flow. Now, I put the money in. Is the property really worth 1.15? Guys, I want to be conservative. I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. This is where the cap rate comes into play. I just want the value of the property to be what I'm into it for. So I'm putting the cap rate here at 7.75. But again, this is my RE calc. It shows me all my cash flows. In year 7, when I refinance, I get a total of $300,000 in my pocket. So what's my IRR on this property, assuming all of these assumptions and 50% vacancy? 17.58%. That's pretty solid. Now, I told you before, I only needed 10%. So what this gives me is a lot of margin of safety. I'm going to assume that my 17.58% doesn't happen. Let's assume my vacancy is much higher. At 55%, it's 14.34. At 60%, I'm still in the double digits. And don't forget, I can use this property for free on my own. So I can make with 60% vacancy on lower rents, I can still make double-digit returns. So guys, for me, this is a great way for me to take excess cash that comes in from my business that pays me out, that doesn't get reinvested, and take that cash and do something useful with it where I can have great fun owning a property, making some extra money, and vacationing whenever I want. My true goal is literally to buy at least one property per year on a lake somewhere in the southern US area. I'm buying a second property on this lake, on the other side of the lake, that's also new, bigger, has better views, will probably rent for considerably more than this one. But this is a great combination for me to have 2 houses in one location that can also share the management and share some of those costs. Are my costs accurate? There's probably things in there that I didn't count for, but I also went a little bit more on margin of safety. That way I could be safe and realize that the money I'm going to make is probably there. Now, keep in mind, if you look at these numbers, the majority of the cash flow comes because of the boat and jet ski rental. And I'm okay with that. I have no problem breaking even on the house and making my money off something else. As long as overall I'm able to handle this portfolio and have the property grow in value over time. That's what's especially important. Now, I made a mistake. The returns will actually be better if my vacancy is higher. Here's why. As my vacancy is higher, the value of property goes down, but it's a single family home. So I actually need to bring that value up to what I paid recently. My return goes to 13%. So my 11% is really 13%. Because when it comes to single family home, it's going to go up in value no matter what. Even if I'm not making money off it and renting it out, it's still going to go up in value over time based on some sort of level of inflation or GDP growth or GDP capita growth. Now, guys, if this sounds confusing, don't worry. It was confusing for me to start. But the point of this channel and the point of this video is to teach you that there's other ways to make money besides stocks, and real estate is a great way to do it. Yes, $925 might not be in your budget. That's okay. These numbers still apply if it's $150,000, $200,000, $250,000 acquisition that you only have $50,000 to do. That's what makes it great. Or you can find some friends and do a property like this together. That's what's key to all of this. It's all about finding a way in which you can diversify and make higher rates of return, because real estate is a great way in which to do that. Now, guys, before you go, I need you to do two things for me. Subscribe to the channel if this is something you like and want to learn more about. And second thing is, watch our next video on the truth about getting rich quick in real estate. Thank you for your time.